Yokoso ni DNBR Avalanche no Podcasto. Watashi wa Rudo desu. Koko wa AJ-san. Asoko wa Burezu-san.
I'm leaving.
Watashi tashi no Ichiban sponsor desu. DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for DraftKings to get an amazing odds boost every single day. Jump over there.
Unbelievable.
That's Japanese.
It's Japanese.
I mean, is that correct?
Pretty close. It's probably not 100% right.
Probably
but it's,
pretty
it's
broken
accurate.
Japanese, but yeah.
That's pretty good.
Avs taking on the Seattle Kraken on the Sega Baba today. Bringing it in on a Pride night. Is Val in? I forgot to check. I know it was a game time decision.
Supposed to take warm-ups.
I mean, you got to feel pretty good if he's taking warm-ups.
I don't know if he's actually taking them because I'm here.
That's fair.
We'll just look for the guy that's 8 feet tall out there.
I'm sure Chad will let us know whether he's in or not in a minute here. They'll find out on Twitter for us.
Yeah. I'm checking Twitter trying to see if somebody has it yet.
Look, the Avs have lost their last two. Haven't played particularly well in either of them.
Yep.
Must-win territory here?
So Georgiev looks to be in net.
Yep.
Nichushkin and McDermott are both taking warm-ups.
Okay, so one of them will be in.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's must-win territory. I mean, you're giving up ground right now, especially after the Central having a pretty good outing this weekend, unless you were the Colorado Avalanche.
Everybody else moving forward. With that being said, Avs are still in an okay position. Look, obviously, I don't think tonight is that complicated of a conversation. Your stars need to show up and do stuff. Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Cale Makar, go win you a hockey game. You can throw Georgiev on that list too. Go win the Avs a hockey game. Go beat your evil. Is Grubauer an evil X? I don't know.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
No, he's absolutely an evil X because when you look at that failure in the Vegas series,
Yeah.
you start with the Game 6 meltdown from Grubauer, and for me, I think that is always going to be a bitter taste as the last memory of him in Colorado. Him not just seeing a puck from Nick Holden, like giving up
Oh, yeah.
giving up a 1-0 lead on the most routine shot in NHL history.
So
Maybe it's just me being salty about it.
he's your evil X for sure.
Yeah, I guess. I think goalies are great evil X's, though, because they're so weird anyway.
They are. They definitely fit the Scott Pilgrim vibe. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
How do the Avs get back to some normalcy here? I understand injuries are something entirely out of their control. That's something that they just have to deal with. How do they find a little bit of that chemistry? How do they find a little bit of that stability in the lineup?
I think you talk about the accountability, when we talk about how they've raised the standard to such a high level of how to be and how to live and how to play a hockey game as the Colorado Avalanche. To me, I think that's where it starts. You do the little things. You skate hard. You punish teams for mistakes. You get through the neutral zone with speed. You be who you are. You be the Colorado Avalanche. And if you do that, there's a good chance you're going to win that hockey game. So even with some of the absences that they have, we've watched two games where it's been way too squirrely defensively, way too loosey-goosey, and not nearly enough through the neutral zone, not nearly enough of that team play. Because even the comeback against New Jersey was a lot of one guy made a play, and a goaltender didn't stop a puck. And so I think good start, score first again.
Been a couple games.
They
where
were winning a whole
not.
bunch of hockey games when they were scoring first every night. They've been a way better team playing out ahead than from behind. I understand that's everybody, but
Well, I forget if we brought this up on the watch along yesterday or if it was off air, but the Avs are actually a pretty decent team in the first period over the course of this year.
it's their best period.
They have outscored opponents. I forget what the exact number was, but they have outscored their opponents in the first period,
It was like plus 15 or something.
despite some of the bad firsts we've seen from them of late.
Yeah, the two terrible first periods recently
Yeah.
swung that pendulum in the other direction. Like, dropped those stats quite a bit, but they have been a top 5 team in the first period. Start that off, you do that.
Blaze, is that guy a key on the ice as they're interviewing Evan Rodriguez on the TV?
I mean, yeah, when he's playing good, he's an asset for the Avalanche. The other thing that I look at too is I think it starts with Nathan MacKinnon and your stars, right? Like if they're into the game, if they're playing hard, everyone follows, everyone ups their game. And like I think the last 2 games, especially last game, it was lacking. There wasn't that drive there that you need from those top guys. Those top guys get going, they're going to challenge the other players to elevate their game as well.
It's a great point because at the end of the day, like we obsess over depth, we obsess over the 2C spot, we obsess over what's Evan Rodriguez up to.
Right.
But when they were winning games, who's scoring for them every night?
Yep.
Nathan MacKinnon's driving the boat there. He's the engine.
Doesn't matter who your 2C is if Nathan MacKinnon no-shows the game.
Right. It really doesn't. And like there will be games, and there have been games this year where MacKinnon hasn't played well, and they've won because they got help.
Whether
they didn't get help the other day.
Miko or down the lineup Confer, pick your guy.
Yeah, I mean, you had Colorado's 3 best players the other day. MacKinnon didn't do anything. Rantanen's most notable contributions were penalties, and Cale Makar was basically invisible until he turns the puck over with a brutal play on an empty net goal. Like,
just not enough from your big guns.
Yeah, definitely. And those 3 guys, like, very rarely have off days at the same time.
Right.
So you get kind of a perfect storm situation yesterday,
for sure.
Which I also think makes it easier to be like,
wash that
look,
one
dude,
off.
just burn that tape.
Yeah. And that's kind of the importance of tonight. If they come out and they look good tonight, you are wiping that off the slate. For sure.
You go 500 on this back-to-back against Dallas and Seattle, 2 playoff teams this year. You feel fine.
Yep.
You don't love it, but you're like, hey, you of course would have taken the Dallas win if you could.
Would have preferred it for sure.
Yeah, but now you're in the room that you're in. You're in this world, okay? We talk about those games in hand. All right, well, this is where they're going to make one of them up. If you're gonna win those games in hand and climb those standings, got it.
Doesn't matter how you get there, but you do have to get there, and that requires winning. So, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B there, perhaps.
Yeah, and we've seen them over the last few years. They've been really good at it. This year, they've been not as good at it, but still pretty reliable that they don't let those bad habits seep into several games.
Yeah.
It's really only happened once this year.
They had
that it was an extended stretch.
They had that one stretch where they hit rock bottom with that Chicago game, and they have been very good since then.
Yeah, and it hasn't been a dead cat bounce.
Yeah.
It was a legitimate launch pad for them to get right and figure it out.
Who's the deadest cat in the league?
For me, I think it's Detroit.
Really?
I think what they're doing right
you
now.
Think it's just a total mirage?
I do.
Yeah. Rough.
Should
I say Buffalo just to annoy Blaze?
You could sell me on Ottawa just as easily.
I thought that's why you brought this up, so you could say Buffalo. So go right ahead.
I think the cat's still breathing, but it's on life support, maybe.
I think Buffalo's good. I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense with their goalies, but whatever.
If it works.
Yeah, right.
And that's a little bit of what I would like to see from the Avs in this game. It doesn't have to be pretty. You don't have to globetrotter them. Go out there, do what works, play some simple hockey, come out with a dub. They don't ask how.
Yeah.
Just not complicated.
I mean, it's simple on paper too, right? You're more talented than they are at your top
certainly
position,
with Burakovsky out especially.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see which version of Philipp Grubauer shows up to this game.
True.
If it's the version that Seattle regularly gets, it could be a lot of goals.
Season series 1-1, right? Lost to them early, like in October, and then won the second game.
I can't remember I remember the loss. I can't remember the other game.
They've been low scoring events.
I also don't remember that other game.
There's been 2.
I know they won it because that was the road trip where they.
Was that a back-to-back game?
I'm pretty sure it was, and I'm pretty sure they played Edmonton too.
Yeah.
And they just swept that road trip, and it was like,
Hey.
Sick.
okay.
Yep.
We were like, hey, you win 1 or 2 of these games, you feel pretty good. And they just won all of them. I just don't remember that game happening. I know they won it, though.
And that's
It's just all a blur now.
That's exactly the point. Is the thing you remember is the games they win and the games they lose, not how. So, move on. I do want to talk about the situation in the West as a whole here, because it shouldn't be that hard to get up for a Seattle game. Seattle's sitting on 76 points right now. The Avs at 73. This is another team pseudo in front of them that they should be looking to chase down.
Yeah, well, it's another team that they could play in the first round very easily.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You want to take this seriously.
Yeah. I agree with all of that. I mean, again, like if you play them in the first round, this last meeting that you have in the regular season, put a little doubt in their head when they get there for the playoffs.
I mean, the more the Avalanche continue to win games, the more their reputation continues to be, oh, do we really have to play those guys? If Colorado limps their way into the postseason, plays 500 hockey from here on out, has like a 92-point season, and is one of the wild card teams,
Brutal.
I guarantee you the team that gets them in the first round isn't excited about it,
Yeah.
but you are feeling like these just aren't the same guys as last year.
Yep.
The Avs keep doing what they've been doing before these last 2 games. They get back to winning and winning in pretty convincing fashion. You send that statement of like,
So, I mean,
we're still us.
here's the, AJ, I know you've brought this up a couple times, but we are in March. Last year's team is time to stop talking about them.
Yeah, totally. Last year's team was better than this year's team.
It's just a fact. And
You know,
that is
they were
last
just-
year's
they were just
problem.
better.
This year's problem is this year's team. And they got to prove who they are.
And while the Avalanche are worse this year, so is all of the rest of the West.
Yep. Sinking tide lowers all ships. I don't know. I don't know how to reverse that saying. Anyway.
A low tide beaches all ships.
There you go. There you go. A lot of teams.
None of the boats out west work, guys. That's all we're
A
trying to
lot
say.
of the teams in the West are thinking about the beach right now. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So, the Avs, not one of them. It's a team you would really like to see. You know, I think they've done a decent job of figuring out their identity and who they are as a team over the last month and a half.
Yeah.
But
Little lineup stability really helped with that too.
definitely, and
It
now
really
it's
did.
it's a team that you want to start seeing more consistency out of. A little bit more of that night in, night out, winning solid hockey games. You know, every team can go out and hit a blowout where they win 5-1. They win 6-2 against a hockey team. It's
Even the worst teams in the league have a couple games like that.
right. It's when the Avs can start consistently winning the 3-2, the 4-2, the 2-goal, 1-goal games.
Yeah.
That's when you really start to feel good about a team like this. Blaze, I have no idea if you followed those things in your bets, but let's find out what you put money on tonight.
Let's get ready. I don't even remember. Here we go. I've liked Byram's game. I feel like I'm going to take a little shot here and go Byram goal. Plus
Here for it.
450. Why not? Is that Makar under? Yeah. No, I didn't mean to take the under. I meant to take the over on that.
I was
Whatever
also
I put
surprised
there,
by
yeah,
that.
don't take that one. That's a my bad. That should be the over. I don't know what the odds are on that. And then this was the only one for the goalies there was Grubauer with over 27.5 saves. Again, like what we talked about, after 2 bad outings, I think this is where it's a get-right game for the Avalanche.
You would like to see the Avs put some pressure on, have a bit better of a possession game after the other night where
Yeah.
it was not that by any stretch of the imagination. Great editing work by Tiff.
Yeah.
Well done.
It's perfect. And if it's plus 40, go and smash that one.
Makar over is minus 120, still worth.
Yeah, that's
True.
That's almost even money.
It's
Sure seems like it would be awesome if they could get a power play.
yeah.
I think it's one power play in each of the last 2 games.
And then the last one, it was not a relevant one.
Yeah, well, and one of them came as a result of a challenge.
Yeah.
So, I would also say that Colorado, when they're drawing a lot of penalties, it's because they're moving their feet the way that they
True.
should be. which is why I don't think it's a huge shock that they continue to be one of the teams that draws the most. But one power play in each of the last 2 games. One, you know that the officials, no, you guys are missing stuff. But 2, it very obviously not playing the way that they should be.
Yeah.
It's a dead giveaway that they are doing way too
When
much
they're
standing
not
around.
earning them, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you two think of Seattle? They certainly seem to be on their way to the playoffs in a weak Pacific Division. How legit do you think this team is heading towards the playoffs?
I mean, I think they're a threat. I think Dave Haskell's getting the most out of this team that he can.
Except
right
for
now.
that goalie position.
But again, yeah. The other part, though, is they are playing them in the Pacific, so they have a lot of games against, a few teams called San Jose Sharks and the Ducks.
Yeah. They do get some easy ones there.
Yep. But, I mean, they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're a first-round exit in the playoffs.
AJ, resident Kings hater, do you have Seattle ahead of them?
Who? I don't know. Not big on either.
Fair.
Because one thing I do think the Kings, I think the Kings play better overall hockey. And my resident Kings haterdom is because of the goaltending. I kind of feel that way about every team in the Pacific. You look at that and you say the number one thing for every single team in the Pacific is goaltending.
Yep.
And then go from there. Seattle has played really average hockey most of this season and outscored a lot of their problems.
It's true.
I'm just not super I don't know about a first round exit because if they play the Kings, for example, somebody's got to win it. And I think both of those teams feel like first round exits to me in a normal year. This isn't a normal year. Those guys could each. Each of those teams could get to the second round for all we know. Like, I just don't. I still think Seattle has overachieved, and it's hard to do that in the postseason in a 7-game series when teams start taking away specific things from you, and when you have to go and win road games. I'm just not. I think Seattle's a quality hockey team, but I just don't see them quite there yet.
Pretenders.
From a cup standpoint, yeah. I don't want to count them out even out of winning a round because I don't know what the matchup is, but it's really hard for me to believe today.
I know the Pacific has a lot of goaltending problems, but are Seattle's at the worst of that list.
Well, I mean, run through them. I mean, you're talking about Phoenix Copley, Jonas Corposalo now, I guess, in LA.
Yeah, I guess.
You have a hurt Logan Thompson or a Jonathan Quick, who was so bad that LA moved a franchise icon. Stuart Skinner, Jack Campbell in Edmonton.
Somehow
Philipp Grubauer, Martin Jones. Good Lord.
It's bad. It's bad out there.
If there was one good goaltender out there, that team would be dominating that division. You take any of the top 4 teams from the Central Division and put them in the Pacific, and I think they win that division running away.
All this to say, don't bet on goaltenders, all right? Go to DraftKings, use the DNVR code, bet $5 to get $200 in free bets, and only bet on goalies if you want to throw that money away. Bet against goalies, that might be the ticket. Go over there, use the DNVR code, must be 21 or older, Colorado only, other terms, restrictions, and conditions apply. See the show notes down below for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. And, of course, it's void in Ohio. All right. Any final thoughts as we head into this game? Or is there any concern about the Sega Baba legs here?
Always.
Sure.
Did they play yesterday, or they were just kind of standing around looking at the puck?
It is a little bit more rest than your normal Sega Baba, too, in the afternoon
It's an
game,
extra 6 hours.
which take whatever you want from that.
I have no idea how meaningful that is. But you'll definitely take the 6 hours in this direction than the other direction.
If it was a 12-hour
Them getting home in Denver and getting it, and going to bed
a
at
proper
9
night's
p.m.
sleep, yeah.
and not flying into Calgary at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it helps.
They definitely. it should be like we're talking like the min-maxing of help here.
Yeah, but hey, the smallest bit.
Yeah, if it bumps up your odds 2%, you'll take that 2%. It's not like you're above it.
You gotta take it wherever you can. Also, it is Pride Night, so be sure to show some love to your LGBTQ plus people.
And if you're in the arena, enjoy the first period intermission. I wish I could be there.
Cool stuff. I've never seen one in arena. So, either way, we're going to wrap this up. Do have a watch along coming your way where I'll talk a bunch more Japanese, maybe. Who's to say?
Go downstairs.
We appreciate all of y'all hanging out. If you're not tuning in for the watch along, at least come back for the post game show where we'll break down whatever happens in the game. We appreciate all of y'all, and we will talk to you in the next one.